What's going on, guys? I'm not sure if you've heard, but they decided to ban body checking in the upcoming OHL season. So I thought it'd be fun to see what would happen if they banned checking in the upcoming NHL season. Obviously a bit more drastic, probably not going to happen. But I thought it'd be fun to see what would happen if they decided to go that route. Now, to do this, I definitely have to kind of change the game up a bit. The first thing was changing every single NHL player's body checking stat to 36, which I'm not gonna lie, took like 5 hours, so if you guys could leave a thumbs up in this video, I would really appreciate it. So as you can see, you can go through every single team. Every single player now has 36 body checking, so there's really no way to make it so they don't hit at all. Basically, let's just make sure if they do hit, it's not really gonna do much, so the faster players can definitely just get away even easier now. I think, you know, with 36 body checking, the skilled players are gonna perform a lot better, as doing this also dropped all the players' ratings. You can see everyone's a lot lower rated now. I would say on average, players dropped from 2 to 4 overall after I changed their body checking to 36. The guys who had better physical stats, say like Milan Lucic, would be guys that dropped the most. So I'm not actually sure what Lucic was rated before. I think he was a 78. He dropped 4 to a 74. But a guy like Nathan Gerbe, who was only a 75 before, only dropped 1 to a 74, as his physical was already so low, like it didn't really, you know, change overall that much. Which I think makes a lot of sense. Obviously, without body checking, the skilled guys are going to be even better, as it's going to be so much harder to stop them on the ice. So it makes sense that their overall would, you know, stay similar to what it was before, where the guys who relied heavily on body checking, that defensive aspect of their game, they're going to drop a lot in rating, as they can't really do much else on the ice now. Like I said, guys like Lucic, without body checking, I'm not really sure what he's good for. But you go through every single guy, 36 checking. McDavid's still the highest rated player in the game, 92 overall. And real quick, guys, I want to thank ExpressVPN for sponsoring this video. I've mentioned them before, but if you have sensitive information online, you need a VPN that allows you to encrypt your data as well as reroute your IP address in just one click. Encrypting your data is especially useful, as no website's 100% secure, so if you have any sensitive information online, such as emails, passwords, or banking information, you want to keep that protected. And with ExpressVPN's encryption service, it would still take a hacker using a supercomputer a billion years to crack. And as I mentioned before, a VPN also allows you to reroute your IP address, which is huge for me living in Canada, as there's so many websites such as SNL, which are region locked to America, so it just gives you access to a lot more content. For instance, Netflix is a big one. Canadian Netflix has Lord of the Rings, so I'm happy. But if you guys are in the States, obviously you'd want to change it. America, though, does have Parks and Recreations, a show I'm really enjoying. As well, the UK Netflix has Rick and Morty. Highly recommend that show if you guys haven't given it a try. So if this sounds like something you guys would be interested in, you can find out how you can get 3 months for free by clicking the link in the description box below, or simply going to expressvpn.com/tactics. And for this, we actually have to do a season mode. As if we did a franchise mode, I think all the computer GMs would just call up a bunch of AHL guys, and obviously I changed all of the NHL players to 36 checking, and that took like 5 hours. I'm not going to also do the AHL. So season mode, what we can do actually is just make it full control, and I can take control of every single team and make sure that they only play the NHL players who have that 36 checking. And because some players dropped in rating more than others, it actually means that some teams got better than other teams just due to the fact there's no body checking. For instance, Ottawa's now the worst team in the league by far at 74 checking. You can see in Detroit there, still at least a 77. Same with both New York teams. The highest rated teams, Tampa, Toronto, both 82. So before, Tampa was actually, I think, 1 higher than Toronto. Now they have the same rating. So again, with this, you can see everyone's lower rated, but I'm more looking at just kind of who's the better team. Calgary, Edmonton, Vegas, Pacific. You can see it's quite close in the Central, 4 teams in the 80s. Metro, yeah, the best teams there, 80s. But yeah, very interesting to see like the teams that had kind of just better hitters, more players like that. They actually got a lot worse, whereas teams that are more skilled, say like Toronto, they actually caught up to Tampa in the ratings. Now, like I was saying, we actually take control of every single team here. Now, a big part of making this sim as realistic as possible, on top of giving everyone 36 checking, is actually adjusting the game settings. So I'm going to go through here and just try and make it so that they hit as least as possible. When they do hit, it doesn't really do much. So game style, arcade you can see is the biggest hit, so full sim hopefully will be the least hits. Now, I feel like if checking's banned, fighting will also probably be banned too. I can see the frequency is currently set to 2 out of 2, and they really don't fight that much, so I feel like 1 out of 2 is probably fine. As even if fighting is banned, I'm sure there'll be enforcers who say, screw it, I'm still going to fight, get the 10-game suspension, or whatever ridiculous number it is. Now, the gameplay sliders is actually the most important thing for this, so we have to go all the way to checking here. Aggression, we're going to turn that down to the minimum. Basically, they're not going to be super aggressive if they can't even hit. Like I said, it's going to be all a skill game. Hitting power, obviously, we'll turn that to 0 as well. So 0 hitting power in the sliders combined with 36 checking. I mean, if they do lay a hit, it should basically do nothing. Now, for the size and speed effect here, I'm just going to leave them the same, so I'm really not sure which way to go to make hitting less powerful. After that, you have the checking/balance rating effect. This is actually really important. It says how much the checking rating and balance rating affect hitting. The higher the value, the more the ratings of the players involved has an impact on the result of the collision. So we turned checking down to 36, which means the higher the value, the more the ratings have an impact, which means at 100, the 36 checking should really do nothing, whereas if you had like a 99 checking at 100, you would just be sending guys flying. After this, I'll probably turn human all down to like the same ratings to match it. Preparedness effect, the higher the value, the more a hit will have an impact on a player who isn't prepared. So I'll turn that down to 0. That way, even if he's not prepared, he still doesn't get really hit that hard. Incidental contact, poke check. Okay, so I think for checking, like, we're pretty good with the 36 checking, everything else. And one thing I want to change here too, guys, is penalties. Obviously, if you can't hit, I feel like elbow's going to get called a lot more. As now you can't hide an elbow in a check. If you elbow a guy, it's pretty obvious. Cross-checking, I mean, that's with your stick. I would say that's probably going to be called about the same. Boarding, that should definitely be called more again, because you can't hit a guy at all. So if you're boarding him, it's pretty obvious. Same goes with charging. Like, again, these are kind of all forms of legal hits. So if you do it, you're going to get called for sure. Holding, I feel like guys are going to be holding a ton, but they'll probably let it slide because you can't check. So leave that the same. Interference for sure if you interfere with a guy. That's going to be obvious too. So I feel like now these are about as authentic settings as we can get to try and limit hitting. So I'll jump into the franchise next year. Now, before we actually start the simulation, guys, I thought it'd be fun to kind of show you what the gameplay looks like with the 36 checking and all the adjusted settings and sliders. So we'll just sim a couple periods here. This Ducks Sharks game. Ryan Kessler apparently playing for the Ducks. And it looks like we got a pretty good game on our hands. 3-3 here heading into the third period. So like I was saying, I just kind of want to watch this, see how they play. Also, just notice their stats are very interesting. The Sharks here, 86 offense, 69 defense. Not nice. And a 86 goaltending. The Ducks pretty similar there. Also had 69 defense. So clearly, even though all we were changing was the checking stat, because now all the forwards and defense both have like 1.5 star or 1 star defense, it actually affects the defensive rating of the entire team. So that's how they come up with those ratings. If you guys were wondering how you had like 6 defensemen, all 85, but your defense rating was 88. That's because it also includes the defensive stats of the forwards. So I feel like we just kind of figured that one out. But like I was saying, we'll watch this now, see what happens here in terms of the gameplay, the hits. Hopefully, you know, if we see one big hit, I'm going to wonder how it's even possible. Alright, guys, we got Sharks forward coming down right now. Fowler did try and hit him there, but he kind of just, like, ran into him. You can see he didn't really do much, although he did, you know, get the puck back. Alright, so Henrique in the corner. Come on, he's going to hit Carlson here. So, again, I don't know who that is. Heinen tries to hit him, but just such a lame hit every time. So it looks like, you know, they still are going for hits. Unfortunately, I guess there's no way to get rid of that, but their hitting effectiveness is almost 0, which is good to see. So I think I kind of got enough here from watching this. They run a power play for the bit. I hate how the computers play. They would literally shoot it, immediately cover it up, shoot it, immediately cover it up. It took like 5 minutes to go through one power play, it seemed. But yeah, watching this here, I kind of like what I'm seeing. Like, a lot of skill. They're getting around. That was a terrible deke, but almost paid off with a goal. Let's see, they got to hit Couture here. That's like a decent hit on the boards, but still like not very big impact. So even when they do hit them, it's really more of a push, I'd say, than a hit, which is kind of what we want to see. So I feel like I've got enough out of that. I will just sim the rest of this game here, and then get started, of course, with the entire season sim again. Got control of every single team to make sure no AHL players get called up, as they're actually higher rated now than a lot of the NHL guys. So like I was saying, guys, we're going to get started with the season sim now. Very curious to see what happens. There's a team that's super high in skill, but not that physical, like the Toronto Maple Leafs, just blow past everyone. To the physical teams, you know, drop the ball in the league. Let's find out. And so we're now around the trade deadline here, guys. I'm not sure why it's not showing a trade deadline icon on the calendar, but we'll take a look at just kind of what the standings look like, points, how many hits are being thrown. So Hischier there leading the Devils. Canucks there first, the Pacific, and the Golden Knights are last. Now, the Golden Knights are a pretty heavy-hitting team, obviously, with Ryan Reeves. In the playoffs, one of the reasons they're always so good, they are a heavy team. Mark Stone up front. So that's kind of interesting. Predators last, Central. Avalanche still first. Bruins first in Atlantic. Maple Leafs right behind them. Panthers are last. I think you could argue, you know, Panthers pretty heavy-hitting team. Devils are last in the Metro. The Hurricanes are first. So very interesting. Next, like I said, I want to see kind of just how many hits are being thrown. Again, there's no way to get rid of the hits, but it is good to know they're not very powerful. So 71, that seems kind of high. 85, Miles Wood, that seems really high. So that's kind of weird. Honestly, I'm not sure how many hits are usually thrown in a franchise. But 85 there by Miles Wood. Like, what's he actually throw in a regular season? Let's see. So we're 62 games in. Last year he played 68. And he had 102 hits. Okay, so I guess he's kind of on par, but just now, again, instead of a hit, it's more like a push. I'll take a look at the entire league here as well, see if scoring's gone up. Ovechkin's got 75 and 62, which is pretty good. A lot of guys there on pace for close to, 90, 100 points. So nothing too crazy. I feel like really if hitting did go to the NHL, a guy like McDavid, who I don't even see here, would probably be averaging like 2 points a night. And so it's now the end of the regular season here, guys. We'll take a look at the standings and the player stats, like I said before. History there, 67 for 82 as the Devils' leading scorer. Not great. So Canucks win the Pacific, Coyotes and Ducks also playoff teams. Oilers don't make it. Again, with no hitting, the Oilers would just be amazing with McDavid leading that team. Even a guy like Yamamoto, I think, would play even better because he's a smaller guy. Golden Knights, again, last is very surprising. I wonder if it is because like a lot of those guys are more physical players. In the Central there, Avalanche win it. The Blues do really well. Jets, Blackhawks, Wild make it. The Stars, 80. They're a pretty physical team as well, which I think we saw in the playoffs going up against Tampa Bay. Maple Leafs do win the Atlantic. Bruins, Senators make it in. They were the lowest rated team in the league, 74 overall. That's very, very surprising. The Metro there, the Capitals win it. Okay, so again, we'll take a look at the entire league here. See who led in points. See also too, like, kind of maybe who had the most hits. I'm curious, the guy who had the most hits, did he actually play well? So Ovechkin, 96, not even 100. Now, in season mode, you can't turn the sim engine scoring up to high, so I would assume it's by default medium, which is probably the reason we're seeing it's a bit lower. Peterson, Stammer. Interesting results for sure there. We'll take a look here at the hitting. Like, what's Ovi got? 94 hits. Mikey Anderson, 249. It's only two guys, though, with 200 plus. So this is sort of good to see. Both guys who had 200 plus hits, Anderson and Blythe, somehow didn't get their checking rating changed. Blythe, 88 body check. Anderson, 85. Next highest, Kadri, 141. You can see it does have 36. So definitely, it lowered hits across the league quite a bit, although it didn't get rid of them completely. And we know even those guys throwing 200 plus, their hits really weren't doing too much. So again, really, I guess the biggest shocker for me is how scoring didn't really go up by too much. And I'd like to say that less hitting applied to how certain teams did, like Vegas Golden Knights, but it's tough when, like, Ottawa still makes the playoffs. I feel like, the sim is just still so random. Colorado being the best team, though, they're a very skilled team. Again, same goes for Toronto, Vancouver. I think it definitely had at least play some of a factor. We'll see here who finished last. It was the Vegas Golden Knights, Florida Devils, Detroit, Dallas. I mean, Calgary there. The Islanders are a pretty grindy team. They don't make the playoffs. I think it definitely played a factor. Just kind of how much of a factor is left to be seen. So I'll get started here with these playoffs. Who won the President's Trophy? It was the Avalanche, right? So we'll take control of Colorado here, I think, for the playoff sim. Just kind of see what happens. McKinnon, 76 and 82. Again, definitely whenever you're doing a franchise mode, you should set the sim engine to high scoring. As otherwise, as you can see, it's just not nearly high enough. So Colorado here, I thought they're going to sweep the Wild, but go to 7 there. They pulled that out 9-5 in the final game. Now they have the St. Louis Blues here, so we'll take a look. Obviously, too, all the lines are the exact same because I'm controlling them all, so there were no trades at all during the season. Just to make sure that no AHL players got called up. And look at that. The St. Louis Blues actually beat Colorado. We were up 2-0. They tied it, won Game 5, and then won Game 6 and Game 7. So really good series there between Colorado and St. Louis. St. Louis beat Colorado, so I guess we'll take control of them here. Anaheim Ducks. That's pretty surprising. Maybe Gibson kind of carrying them. And we actually lose to the Ducks there in 6 games. So we're going back to the original team we had, the Anaheim Ducks. Stanley Cup final here against the Philadelphia Flyers. This is interesting. Okay, so I guess we'll sim this period by period just to have some fun. Ducks are 12-5. The Flyers are 12-7. We'll have to take a look at the playoff tree afterwards. First game, 2-1. I hate the fact that they're both orange. 3-1, 4-1. So the Ducks somehow getting it done. I do wonder, like, Gibson's probably carrying when both teams' defensive ratings are really low. I feel like maybe the goaltending rating matters more, although, I don't know, because Vegas has, Leonard and Fleury who are both good goalies, and they're last in the league. It's so tough to say. Ducks up 2-0, 3-1. Take a 4-2 win there. So the Ducks just find a way to get this done. I mean, the Ducks have a lot of good young skilled players, but a guy like Getzlav, he's a pretty heavy guy. Defensively, I'd say the defensemen are more just mobile. Guys like Fowler, Lindholm. Manson's a gritty guy though. 2-1 now. The Ducks just finding a way. Flyers will answer back 3-2, and they pull that one out 4-3, Game 3. Moving on to Game 4 now. Flyers trying to tie this series up. Ducks up 1. Ducks up 2. 3-3, huge period for the Flyers, going to OT. And the Flyers do tie it up. Oscar Lindblom of all people. Okay, so basically it's a best of 3 here. Ducks versus Flyers. Let's see what happens. This will be an interesting Stanley Cup final for sure. Not one I'd be putting my money on for next year. The Ducks up 1. 1-1. We got a series. And the Flyers make it 2-1. They've actually won 3 straight games here to take that series lead. Potential Stanley Cup here for Philadelphia Flyers. I mean, they're a team with a lot of skill too. They're no longer, you know, the Broad Street bullies. Let's see if they can get it done here. Game 6, nothing. And 3-2 for the Ducks. Getzlav, big period. Wow, Sanheim makes it OT game. The Ducks, though, Raquel, the OT winner, the hero. The Ducks do not lose there. I think that would have been at home. It was. So now they're going to Philly here. Game 7. This is great. Stanley Cup on the line. Let's see what happens. I want to take a look, too. Will the playoff hitting stats be any different on the regular season? That's obviously in real life. Playoff hitting's a lot higher than the regular season. So 1-0 for the Flyers. 2-1, Getzlav and Steele. And the Anaheim Ducks are your Stanley Cup champs. Getzlav and Steele again in the third. Both have a 2-goal game. So, yeah, the Anaheim Ducks, do they win the Stanley Cup with regular hitting and all the regular sliders? I don't think so, but you never know. We'll take a look here at the playoff stats. Raquel there, 29-24. He goes off for the Ducks. Again, you're not the most physical guy. Getzlav, though, still plays really well. He's kind of slow. Now, Raquel is pretty quick there with 89 speed. Getzlav, though, not the fastest, 84 speed. Looking at the regular season, too, I really thought your guys that were super fast, like McDavid, like McKinnon, would just be dominating the league, both with over 100 points. So, definitely interesting results here from the sim. I feel like what I think was going to happen probably closer to what actually happened in real life. But regardless, so let's see. In the East, Philly goes through Toronto in 6, Boston in 6, Carolina in 7. The Ducks 6 against Coyotes, 5 against the Canucks, and of course 6 against the Blues. So I mean, the teams here, they definitely do have a lot of skill. The biggest surprise is Ottawa, the lowest rated team, like 74 overall. I don't know how they make it in. Like I was saying too, the one thing I wanted to actually check here with the playoffs was hitting. So 24 games, it's about a quarter of a season. And what are their average hits here? 21 for Raquel, 41 for Hayes. That is quite a bit more. He's averaging more than Kadri in the regular season, and Kadri, aside from those 2 outliers, led the league in hits. So definitely, hitting was still up a bit in the playoffs, but I don't think anything too crazy. Like Getzlav, 33 hits. So 2016-17, he had 17 games played, 42 hits. So he had 9 less hits this season in, what was that, 7 less games played. So again, definitely played a factor. Just, I thought he'd play more of a factor, I think. Maybe the Sims is not used to it. It's like, what is going on here? Just doesn't really know how to handle the low checking stats, the sliders. And just for fun here, next we'll take a look at the awards. Of course, the Ducks won the Stanley Cup. Colorado won the President's Trophy. We already know the Francis Campbell, Prince of Wales. Ovi got the Art Ross there. Stamkos got the Hart. Carlson, James Norris, Patty Kane, Lady Bing. Oliver Wahlstrom Calder. That's an interesting one for sure. Raquel, Conn Smythe. Hellebuck again gets the Vezina. He also got the William Jennings Trophy. Edmondson, Bill Masterton. O'Reilly got the Selke. Stammer, Ted Lindsay. Ovechkin also got the Maurice Richard. So, yeah, interesting results. Like I said, I expected the faster players to do a lot better, like McDavid, like the McKinnons, but some weird teams like Vegas getting last is definitely strange. Ottawa making the playoffs. And this is kind of crazy, guys. I was just looking at some different stats. The Anaheim Ducks only had 5 players on their team who finished with a positive plus-minus. Ryan Kessler accidentally played 1 game, so he doesn't even count. So actually, only 4 of their players had a positive plus-minus. They went on to win the Stanley Cup, which is pretty crazy. One thing I actually want to look at, too, though, the reason I'm here, is penalty minutes. So, Burrow-Wiki had the most penalty minutes in the entire league, 99. So penalties were way down, even though I actually turned up penalties. It basically makes me think, with the 36 checking, they just weren't hitting people hard enough or whatever to get those charging calls, even though we had that turned up. Because Burrow-Wiki, 99 penalty minutes, I feel like he's got to average a lot, yeah, 154 there. He cleaned his act up a little bit, but still, 99 leading the league. Not the results I expected, but interesting nevertheless. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave that thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do that. And as always, guys, thanks so much for watching. Have a nice day. Goodbye.